What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're just out with the 72 volt BBSHD bike. I've got my computer right here, and we got it hooked up to the controller. We got the Grin Tech Phaserunner Suite opened up, and I'm about to reprogram my BBSHD so that it'll be running on this Frankenrunner controller instead of my Phaserunner V6. So apparently with the Phaserunner V6, there's a 25% field weakening limit by default. And I think there's like some way that you can kind of hack it and get past that limit, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I'm gonna put this controller on my dual hub bike, because the dual hub bike, those motors don't use as much current, they don't need as much field weakening, so I can use this on my dual hub bike and that'll work just fine. And then this Frankenrunner, it turns out that this one, it seems like it's got better cooling on it, because it's got these, it has these fins on it, and whereas this Phaserunner, this thing doesn't have anything like that on there. I think this one looks a little bit cooler. I wish I could use this one because it matches the bike really well, but the field weakening is an important feature for the high voltage BBSHD. So for now, until I get this one hacked and I get past that, I'm gonna use the Frankenrunner. So right now I'm gonna reprogram this thing to work with the BBSHD, because currently the Frankenrunner has got all of my hub motor settings loaded onto it. So I'm gonna go through this process of how I do this here. So where's my mouse? I can't see you. Okay. So I'm filming my computer with my phone, but it is what it is. So we're in the Phaserunner Suite. This is the software that you download to program your Phaserunner controllers and all of the Grin Tech controllers. So I've got this opened up, and I'm gonna load the motor defaults. So what we do here is we go up to right here to load default parameters, right? Or else I think you can also go up to file and then load default parameters is another way. So we're going to select Bafang, BBSHD, and then in this case it's a Frankenrunner, and I have the Cycle Analyst 3. So we're going to load those settings, hit apply, and then that should load everything in here. And so we can see up here, Frankenrunner is connected. So we're connected to it, the bike is on, and so we're connected to the controller. We just loaded those settings up. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna save those, because we just changed it. Right, I want to change all of these settings over to the defaults for the BBSHD. So we're saving those, and when you do that, it's saving a lot of parameters that one first time, so it takes a second. So now it's finished up, and Microsoft Windows is tormenting me. Get out of my way. Get out of the way. Alright, so now usually the next thing that you do is you want to do the AutoTune. But what I've found is before we do this, we want to go change some things in the sensorless starting parameters, because I think that these parameters, the sensorless starting parameters, that kind of affects the AutoTune and how the motor starts up from a stop when it first starts going. So I've found that you got to change these a little bit to get things to work smoothly with the BBSHD. These settings, you would think that when you load the default settings for the BBSHD that it would load some settings in here that work good, but doesn't seem like the Grin Tech defaults work very good for the BBSHD. So this is what we have to do. I think what I did was I changed this to 150, and then I left the injection current at 45, Alright guys, so these are the sensorless starting parameters that I'm going to use here. So the hold time is 150, current's 45, I didn't change that. Spin up time is 500, I'm actually going to leave that. And then I increased this RPM to 36, so that's what we're going to use for that. I'm going to save those parameters. Alright, now we can come back here to the AutoTune. And let's see what happens with the AutoTune. So I've got the chain loosey-goosey taken off of the chainring, and the chainring is just kind of free to spin on its own there. So we're going to do the AutoTune without the chain hooked up on the chainring, and the motor is just spinning freely. So let's start up the AutoTune, and it does the static test. It'll make some noises. Alright, so that was it, and it comes up with some numbers, and then you go, okay, next, and then it says, okay, warning, test is going to spin the motor. So this is the motor spinning test. So my motor is just going to be spinning the chainring in this case, and it's not hooked to the chain, so as long as all these wires are not getting caught up, we should be able to go right here, hit next, and then the button that starts the test is right here, launch motor spinning test. So I'm gonna launch the motor spinning test. That seemed like it worked fairly well. It's like every time you do that, it's a little bit different, it seems. So it says, okay, hall sensor's okay, hall sensor start, sensorless run. So it figures out the kV of the motor windings. So it says 3.27 RPM per volt is what it found, and then it's got the hall offset, and here's the hall pattern. So that detects the pattern of your halls, so that you want that to be set up. So AutoTune complete, hit finish. And then after that, I think it saves automatically, but I'm just gonna hit save anyways. Okay, so now let's try, I'm gonna go up to the bike and make sure that, let's see what's happening here. Oh man, oh. So we're up at the bike. Bike is on. Don't want to step on anything. All right, let's look back here, and then I'm gonna hit the throttle. Oh, we gotta turn the power on a little bit. Hit the buttons to turn the power up. We'll just do like 1200 watts. All right. So it's spinning. Doesn't seem like it's spinning very fast. So at this point, and it's not spinning fast because we don't have the field weakening current set up. We still gotta change some other things, so we'll get to that. But I like to just do the AutoTune and then make sure that it seems like it's working, and you can hit the throttle and the thing is spinning. So then we're gonna put the chain back on here. Let's get this going back on here. And then how this works is I gotta take an Allen, and then we're gonna tighten up the chain tensioner, because this thing is a single speed, so I gotta get this chain tensioner tighter and in position, and then we kind of tighten that on there like this. Right, and make sure it's not too tight. It seems reasonably tight where there's a little bit of slack, but it's not going to come, hopefully it won't come flying off. It might, if it may be a little bit tighter than that, but we're not going down some crazy road. All right, so now let's see how fast it gets going, because you've got our speed sensor on the back wheel. So I'm gonna hit the throttle. Make sure nothing's gonna get caught up here. So it says it's going 25 miles an hour. And it uses about 100 watts to go max speed. Alright. So now let's turn on some field weakening. I'm gonna go down here to the field weakening. So what I had it set to on my Phaserunner, it was 25, or it was 22.5. Oops. 22.5. Okay, so that's this number right here. So there's a little tooltip that shows what field weakening is. It's a bunch of technical words. You can pause and read those if you care about that. But so now let's go save that. Where's my mouse? Save. Okay, so we turned on the field weakening. Let's go and see how fast it goes. Okay, so now it's going 42. Alright. So that's the most that I could do on my Phaserunner. And I've actually got it going that fast while riding the bike down a little bit of a hill. But it's pretty, it was actually pretty easy to get the bike going that fast. So I'm surprised that when I'm riding the bike, it can actually get going as fast as like that top unloaded speed. That's interesting. So let's change this to, so 22, I think that is like 25% of 90 amps, right? But so if I go up to this phase current up here, the Frankenrunner can do more than 90, right? It can do 96. So let's save that. So now we've got this thing set to the max that it can do, 96 amps. Maybe I'll just bump it down just 95. All right. So we're doing 95 amps. Leave 1 amp of wiggle room just for fun. So then the other thing I want to do is so max power limit. I've been setting that to 4,600 watts. So I'll save that. And then so when you increase the watts, it automatically increases this max battery current. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this higher because I know my battery can do more than 66 amps. So well, actually that's probably fine. 66 amps, that's a lot. So now the regen battery current, like the BBSHD doesn't do regen, so I don't really know that you like want it doing regen, so I don't know. I think if you hit 0, it like, does it let you do that? Regen, battery current. All right. So we changed those settings. That's probably not going to change anything right now because it's not going to actually do 4,000 watts with no load. So a little bit faster, 43.7. So I think that's just because we increased that phase current. Let's see if I make it 40. Let's see if I make it 96, and then we'll save that. We'll see if it can get going faster than 43.7. All right, that's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna leave that phase current on the max. It seems like that helps out. So now let's increase the field weakening again. So we're going down to the field weakening. So it's at 24. So we've got 96 phase amps. Let's make the field weakening like 40%. So let's figure out what's 40% of 96. It should be like slightly under 40 amps. So let's see here. Where's the calculator? Calculator. So 0.4 times 96, 38.4. All right, so let's do 38.4, and then we'll save that, see how fast that gets going. It said 60 something, but I don't know what happened. I think it faulted. Let's see. Did it? Uh-oh. It says instantaneous controller over voltage. Hall transition. All right. So at this point, this is where I would usually start messing around with this feedback bandwidth tuning, because as soon as you try and start doing stuff like this with more field weakening, bad things start happening. So, I mean, it's got all these default settings that we loaded in as the defaults, but those don't always work great. So we're gonna change these feedback bandwidth tuning. So what I've found is that it can work pretty good to set this KP to 1 and then change this KI to 10. So I'm going to save that. And then let's see what results that has. So let's get this thing going. Uh-oh. I think we gotta clear the faults. before it's gonna let us do anything here. So let's make sure that's all saved. All right. We're gonna go here? Yeah? Oh. So now it's saying it's going 70 miles an hour. I don't think it would actually do 70 miles an hour when you're on it. But that's like the unloaded wheel speed. So that is what the KP and the KI, I don't know. Oh, it looks like it's still got a Hall transition. What does that mean? Hall transition. So what I was doing is I was putting this in Hall sensor mode. Let's see, can I save that? What is a Hall transition? I don't know what that means. We might have to look that up. Can we clear that? I don't know if it's clearing. All right, well, let's go back up here. All of a sudden my brake rotor started scraping, so apparently it jerked the wheel so much that it bent the rotor? I don't know. But something happened. So programming the BBSHD with the Phaserunner Suite, it's a little bit funny because like sometimes things will work good when you're just sitting here with it in the stand, but then when you get out on the bike and you're riding it, it's funky. So, but I mean in the stand it seems like this is working better. So it was 768 and then it was 1.87. Oops, 1.8787. The ghost of the Phaserunner Suite's fucking with me. Alright, save parameters. Oh, it did Hall transition again. What does that mean? I gotta look that up. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna turn the thing off up here with the switch. Boop. Boop. Hopefully that clears that fault, because that turns the controller on and off. So now, if we come back down here, Frankenrunner is connected again and there's no faults. So I don't know, I'm gonna try this. It's always seemed to me like it looks better with the Hall sensor. We're gonna try it with a max phase current. I set this back to 768 and 1.87. We'll try that, but I'm pretty sure it works better when I change it. But it seems like it works better in the stand like this. So I'm gonna go ride it again with this set to 768 and 1.87 and see how that goes. I'm gonna try it one more time just to see what it's doing here before I go outside with it. Let's turn the power up. Huh. I thought we had it going like 60 miles an hour that one time. What happened to that? What did I change? So I wonder if I go back onto Sensorless, does that work better or something? I wonder once it gets going, maybe Sensorless is faster somehow? I don't know. Let's do Hall sensor start, Sensorless run. We'll try that, because that's what I had before. Yeah, Yeah, it does seem like it goes faster when it's in sensorless. That's interesting. Huh. I did get that fault again, Hall transition. Does that mean that it did the fallback to sensorless? I don't know. All I know is the sensorless, if it's sensorless only, I think it's jerky when you first hit the throttle. Let's see how it is. Let's try it. Sensorless, save. So I'm going to hit the throttle. We're going to see how jerky it is. Oh, I guess that wasn't too bad. Oh, a little bit rough there. Yeah. I think it definitely starts. It's probably better to have. Yeah, this is probably the best. Hall sensor start, sensorless run. Because the Hall sensors start up smooth, but then the sensorless run seems to go really fast. So I'm going to leave it like that. So I guess, I don't know. Let's try this. Let's go see what we got going here. 3.5 volts on the max throttle. So let's go in here. So throttle in, throttle out. So it's set to 3.5. So that should be good. All right, we're gonna reset this. All right. It's kind of cold and windy out, but I'm gonna go out and try this and see how this goes with more field weakening. Man, that can get going, buddy. Brr, it's cold out. Oh, we got dirt on the road. Gotta be careful. The only thing about riding like that is the motor temperature increased quite rapidly to about 45 C, and then it tapered off once I laid off. Alright, it's really cold out. I'm just gonna go flying down this hill and go home, because I don't feel like riding around much. But this controller seems a lot faster with more field weakening.
All right, well, that was fun. Gonna ride more soon. See you later. Thanks for watching.